Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice. We're here at Nexus's headquarters in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and we're on the second floor of the headquarters, a place that I really don't show you too much because there's not much to talk about. But I decided to make this video today if you're thinking about investing in a mill style or an industrial style building. Okay, this is not the same as house flipping. This is not the same as the tenant properties, the 3 families, the 6 families. This is its own business, its own animal in itself. So I wanted to talk about what you need to consider, the 5 factors if you're going to buy a building like this. Okay, and if I step aside here, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, we got a roof leak we got a pool, we got tarps, we got peeling paint, we got no floor. It's a skeleton. Okay, and that's the first thing I want to talk about is, can you handle the carrying costs of this skeleton? Okay, we bought this building in 2014. We're going on 2020 now, almost 2021. 7 years we've had to carry this. And we've done it. We've built out our office just below me. We've rented out some other space in the building, odds and end things like car storage, regular cold storage, people that have skateboard ramps. There's a small office in the front corner here. I mean, just random folks that have contributed to the carrying costs over this 7-year period. So that's the first thing you need to consider is, if you buy that building, can you afford to offset the cost? Because trust me, it's about $1,000 a month just in electric. Okay, then you talk about the water bill, the sewer bill, the fire safety system, the elevator, okay, the taxes, the insurance is through the roof because of how big the building is and how much risk it has. So the carrying costs on this building are super expensive. So you need to think that first. You're not just buying a building and fixing it next month. It can take years and years to get to that point just to break ground on that construction, not necessarily to have it fully renovated. That's going to take years for us to accomplish here. And I'll show you some other parts of the building I'll throw up on the screen now so you can see exactly what we're dealing with and what we have to tackle. Okay, number 2 thing to consider, the environmental concerns. Now, when you buy a building like this, there's going to be some type of environmental issues, whether it's maybe a storage tank that's been buried, whether it's asbestos, whether it's lead, whether it's some type of contaminant that's in the building itself or spilled on the floor somewhere, or years and years of usage. I mean, especially with these old mills, there's so much oil, there's so much contaminants that really we don't even know what's going on until you start to peel back the layers. So expect and assume that there's going to be environmental costs. And just in this building alone, we spent close to roughly $75,000 to this point on environmental issues, specifically a buried oil tank, an old tank that is buried underneath the building itself. We're not using it, it's not in use, but still we had to suck all those contaminants out, fill it with sand to cap it, and that's not a cheap process. So think about the environmental impacts and add that to your carrying costs, okay? Now the third thing is usability. When you buy this building, you have a goal in mind, but your goal is not necessarily what the community's goal is or what the city government's goal is. Most governments want this to be renovated. Most communities want these buildings to be fixed to get their highest and best use out of them. But you may face some resistance, specifically if you go before a zoning board. Okay, you're going to need a variance for this building to change it to whatever you're looking for, however many apartments. And then you might need a tax treaty. You might need to make a deal with the city, like we did, to keep your taxes stable. And then over time, they incrementally get to where the city wants them for the full finished value of this building. So you might get some resistance there. Keep that in mind. I can't stress that enough. Just because you bought the building doesn't mean that you're going to get to do exactly what you want to do. So I referenced in another interview with Mike Lashinsky of Lashinsky Finance, you want to do some of this before you buy the building, okay? And this exploratory period is what Mike called it. So maybe you sign a purchase and sale agreement, and for 6 months you get to do these types of things. You get to talk to the city, talk to the zoning board, talk to the fire department, see what they need, see what they don't need, so you can decide if you want to purchase it at all, okay? That's a risk you may take. If you did like we did, we just bought it. We didn't talk to nobody. Seller Finance will take it. Our CEO, Nick Dagnillo, he's a big fan of secure the asset first, ask questions later. That might not be your style, okay? So usability is very important, okay? Number 4, very important, location. Is the location suitable to what you want to do? Now you could potentially tie this in with usability, but I want to keep it separate because the community that these buildings are in, these mill-style communities, they're usually very dense, very unique, very different. So the biggest issue with this building here is the outside. There's very limited parking. So that is what I believe kept a lot of folks away from buying this building. There's nowhere to park. You want to put 27, 28 apartments, that's great. There's plenty of space here for it, but where do all these people park? Where do their guests park? Where do delivery guys and gals park? There's so many external factors with transportation that I think it kept people away from this building, but we created a great solution. We're going to have indoor parking. So all the tenants can pull into the parking garage and pull out. We have 2 doors. It's beautiful. There's going to be an elevator there. The trash receptacles, the mailboxes, it's going to work out great. And I don't think anybody thought of that, which to us was like first thing we noticed. Oh yeah, let's have parking in here. Problem solved. So you need to think about the community that you're buying it in. Are there any factors that are going to keep you from maybe reaching that goal because of nuisances? Also consider most of these communities are in tough areas. Are you going to be able to attract the right clientele that you want to fill the property? Are you going to be able to easily rent the units, the storefronts, whatever you may have? So you need to consider all these factors. Okay, and the 5th and the final thing you need to consider is, are there credits, grants, opportunities for you to get money for that job? This Nexus building likely will get about 60% of the total job cost, everything, funded from the government, local, state, and federal combined. Crazy. You're not getting 60% credits or even 1% credits if you buy a regular tenant property, you know, regular 3-family, regular 6-family, because those don't need assistance. Okay, they need TLC. This needs everything. And governments realize that folks can't just come in. It's not suitable. There's no incentive for somebody to come and fix this building for $10 million because the rate of return, they might as well just put it in a CD, which is paying no interest, but it's better than what this would pay. So the government knows that it has to subsidize and incentivize these buildings to be purchased, or else they're going to sit dormant, the communities will never rebound, etc. So it's not a huge deal. Most of these properties will be getting some type of credit no matter what state or jurisdiction you're located. But you want to know, is it an opportunity zone? Are there rebuild credits? Are there grants? Are there low interest loans? And then also consider stuff like solar. Is that available? Can that help you offset costs? Can you potentially gain that as a revenue stream? And sometimes solar will be a credit from the government. So they'll put on a new roof and then they'll put on your solar panels. Low interest loan for 20, 30 years. So there's all sorts of credits, all sorts of opportunities. You just have to know. And who knows more than anybody? Mike Lashinsky of Lashinsky Finance. So that's who we chose to steamroll and spearhead our job, because that's the business he's in. He's in the business of helping businesses grow with credits, with incentives, Totally legal, totally legit. We don't know all these things. We're busy. We're running a company. We don't have time to stay up on the latest government papers that were passed and this bill that's coming across this person's desk and this budget has run out. We'll get it next year. Mike's on top of all that. So you need somebody like Mike, if not him, that's going to stay on top of those programs for you because they could change at a moment's notice, okay? So to recap again, the top 5 things. Number 1, what is it? Carrying costs. Are you going to be able to pay for it and maintain and keep this building operational for the years? It's going to take years. The years that it takes to get it finished. If yes, great. If no, or if maybe, you should seriously reconsider, because if you bought this and you couldn't afford it, bye-bye to your future. Okay, this can drain you, this can suck you dry. Number 2, are you prepared to deal with the inevitable environmental concerns? Those are coming. Most of these mills are tainted and contaminated. Get used to it. Number 3, usability. Is the building going to be able to be used in the eyes of the city or town that you're in for the purpose that you want? Is zoning going to be an issue? Are variances needed? Is the fire department okay with it? So many things in that section. Number 4, is the community going to accept it? And is it going to fit in nicely to that community? Or are you going to become a problem? Is it going to be hard? Is there going to be parking issues, traffic issues? Think about that as well. And then the 5th and final thing is, are there credits? Are there incentives for you to even undertake this type of project? Which, like I said, mostly there are. But you got to wait for them, and also you got to apply for them and stay on top of them, and you need somebody professional that can help you with that task, okay? So again, Greg Rice from Nexus here, just talking about what you need to consider when you're buying a mill or industrial style building. If you have any questions, shoot us a comment below, and if I can't answer it, we'll get Mike or Nick, our CEO, to answer that right away for you. Once again, Greg Rice here at Nexus, your property managed.